Welcome back. Please like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel.
Good morning. Today we are looking at a major breakthrough in the world of technology. Leading companies have just created the first commercial silicon photonic processor.
It is a significant milestone, Alex. To put it simply, this new chip uses light to move data instead of traditional electricity.
That sounds like a major shift. What are the specific benefits for the industry?
The numbers are quite impressive. This technology reduces delay or latency by nearly 40%. Even better, it cuts power consumption in half.
That is very important. As the Trump administration focuses on strengthening the economy and American tech leadership, finding sustainable ways to power massive data centers is a high priority.
Exactly. The demand for high-speed computing is growing fast, especially with the expansion of artificial intelligence. We need more speed, but we also need to save energy.
So, when will we see this technology in our daily lives?
Industry experts say this will redefine hardware standards over the next 10 years. It will start in high-performance computing sectors first. We expect it to reach regular consumer electronics by the year 2028.
It is a fascinating transition from electrical signals to light-based architecture. A new era for data centers is certainly beginning.
It certainly is. This is a steady step forward for global technology.
Thank you for that analysis, Jamie. We will continue to watch this story as it develops.
Hello and welcome. I'm Alex, and today we are looking at a significant development in the world of cybersecurity.
Hello, everyone. That's right, Alex. A group of global technology leaders has just introduced a new system called PQ Secure. This framework is designed to protect our digital information from the next generation of computers.
It is a proactive move. As quantum computing becomes more powerful, our current security methods might not be enough. These new protocols are built to resist even the most advanced processors of the future.
This is especially important now. We have seen a rise in complex cyber attacks on essential systems like banks and power grids. By using PQ Secure, companies aim to protect both financial data and personal privacy.
The commitment from these tech leaders is very clear. They have pledged to move away from old security methods within the next 24 months. It is a tight schedule, but a necessary one.
I agree. In our current digital economy, stability is everything. Under the current administration, there is a strong focus on keeping our national infrastructure safe. This alliance helps ensure that the global transition to new technology is smooth and secure.
It is about looking ahead. Instead of waiting for a problem to happen, these leaders are building the defense now.
It is a calm and steady approach to a very complex challenge. Thank you for joining us for this update.
We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for today's financial update. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Our main story today concerns the Federal Reserve. After a 2-day meeting, the U.S. Central Bank has decided to keep interest rates at their current level.
That's right, Jamie. The decision was expected by many, but it is still very important for the economy. The Fed noted that while the job market remains strong, they are seeing some cooling in other areas, like housing and services.
Exactly. This cooling suggests that inflation is slowly moving in the right direction. However, Chair Jerome Powell was very clear. The board is not ready to lower rates just yet. They are staying data dependent.
For our listeners, that means they want to see more consistent evidence. Their goal is to bring inflation down to a steady 2%. Until they are sure that is happening, they will remain cautious.
And how did the markets react to this news, Alex?
The reaction was actually quite positive. Major stock indices showed modest gains. It seems investors appreciate the clarity and the stability of the Fed's current path.
It is also worth noting the timeline. The Fed signaled that we probably won't see any rate cuts until the final quarter of the year. So for now, the wait-and-see approach continues.
Indeed, a steady hand for a complex economy. Thank you for that analysis, Jamie.
You're welcome, Alex.
That is all for our report today. We will continue to monitor these developments closely. Thank you for listening and have a good evening. Good morning. Today, we are looking at a positive update regarding the global economy. According to the latest World Trade Monitoring report, global supply chains are showing record resilience.
That is correct, Alex. Even with recent challenges, the movement of goods around the world is now faster and more stable. The report shows that the system is handling a very high volume of trade.
It is interesting to see how they achieved this. The report mentions that companies are using better technology to find the best shipping routes. They are also using more secondary ports to avoid big crowds at the main docks.
Exactly. These changes have fixed many of the delays we saw in the past. Because of this efficiency, the cost of international shipping has dropped by 5% over the last 6 months.
This is excellent news for manufacturers and retail stores. When shipping costs go down, it is easier for businesses to keep prices stable for their customers.
Analysts also believe this is a big reason why large international companies are reporting higher profits recently. The economy feels more balanced because the supply chain is finally working smoothly.
There is also a focus on the future. The report says that many ports are investing heavily in automation. Using robots and computers to move cargo is helping to keep this momentum going.
It is a clear sign that the logistics sector is stronger than it was a year ago. Technology and better planning are making a real difference.
Thank you for that analysis, Jamie. It is encouraging to see the global trade system becoming so reliable.
I agree, Alex. Thank you for joining us today.
We will see you next time for more updates. Goodbye. Good morning. Today we are discussing a major announcement from the Oval Office. President Trump has introduced a new plan to modernize the nation's infrastructure.
That is correct, Alex. The plan focuses on 3 main areas: interstate highways, major bridges, and deep water ports. Many of these systems are aging and need urgent repairs.
It sounds like a significant undertaking. President Trump mentioned that this is not just about repairs, but also about the economy. Jamie, how will this initiative affect the job market?
The administration expects to see a lot of growth in the construction and engineering sectors. By using federal grants and encouraging private investment, they hope to create many new jobs across the country.
During his address, the president also emphasized that better infrastructure is necessary for national security and for staying competitive in the global market. When can we expect these projects to begin?
The White House plans to start the first phase of projects this summer. They will prioritize regions where the roads and bridges are in the most critical condition.
It is certainly a plan that aims for long-term growth and stability. Thank you for that analysis, Jamie.
You're welcome, Alex. We will continue to follow this story as the projects develop.
Good morning. Today, we are discussing a significant development from Washington regarding the nation's energy future.
Hello, Alex. It is indeed a major update. After weeks of private discussions, a bipartisan group of lawmakers has reached a preliminary agreement on a new bill. It is called the National Energy Security Act.
This is a rare moment of unity between both parties. Jamie, what are the main goals of this proposed legislation?
The primary goal is to achieve energy independence. To do this, the bill aims to streamline the permitting process. In other words, it will make it faster and easier to start new energy projects by reducing government rules and delays.
And this applies to different types of energy, correct? It isn't just focused on one source.
That is right. The plan supports domestic production of oil and natural gas to help lower costs now. At the same time, it provides funding for research into next-generation nuclear technology for the future.
It sounds like a careful balance. They are looking at immediate energy prices while also considering long-term sustainability.
Exactly. Congressional aides say the compromise was reached by focusing on both economic needs and national security. Both Republicans and Democrats feel optimistic that the bill will pass through the House and Senate with strong support.
This would be a significant legislative victory for the country and a key moment for President Trump's administration.
It certainly shows that even in a divided environment, consensus is still possible when it comes to national energy goals.
Thank you for that analysis, Jamie. We will continue to monitor the progress of this bill as it moves toward a final vote.
You're welcome, Alex.
Good morning. Today, we are discussing an important update regarding healthcare in the United States.
That is right, Alex. The Department of Health and Human Services recently released a report. It shows that healthcare is becoming much easier to access for people living in rural communities.
This improvement is thanks to a program called Connect Care.
This initiative uses high-definition video to connect patients with medical specialists.
It is a significant change. In the past, people in remote areas often lived very far from big hospitals. Now they can speak with experts through a screen, right in their own towns.
The data shows this is working. Because of these video visits, there are fewer emergency room visits for common health problems. People are now managing their conditions before they become serious.
Local leaders are praising the program. They say it is especially helpful for elderly residents. These seniors can now receive long-term care without the stress of traveling long distances.
Currently, under President Trump's administration, this program has been a successful pilot. However, because it is doing so well, many leaders are calling for it to become permanent.
They want to ensure that financial support for telehealth continues. The main goal is to make sure that your location does not limit the quality of your medical care.
It is certainly a positive step for rural America. Thank you for sharing these details with us, Jamie.
You are very welcome, Alex.
And thank you for listening. We will continue to follow this story as it develops.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we are discussing a significant shift in American education. In the Midwest, we are seeing a major rise in vocational training.
Hello, Alex. That is correct. New data from the Department of Education shows that enrollment in trade schools has increased by 15% this year. More young people are choosing technical skills over traditional four-year college degrees.
It is an interesting trend. Students are focusing on specific fields, such as advanced manufacturing, welding, and electrical engineering. These are essential industries that currently need a new generation of talent.
There are clear reasons for this change. First, the cost of a traditional university degree continues to rise. Second, these trade professions offer the opportunity to start earning a good salary immediately after finishing a program.
Local governments are responding quickly to this demand. They are providing more funding for community college workshops and apprenticeship programs. This allows students to gain hands-on experience while they study.
This movement is very important for the national economy. President Trump has often emphasized the value of vocational education to help rebuild the American workforce.
It seems this resurgence in the trades will provide a very stable foundation for the country's industrial future. It is a practical path for many young workers.
I agree, Alex. It is a positive development for both the students and the industry.
Thank you for those insights, Jamie. And thank you all for listening.
Good evening. Today we bring you a significant update from NASA regarding our exploration of the Red Planet.
Hello, Alex. That is right. The Perseverance rover has discovered rare mineral formations in a place called Jezero Crater. These minerals include silica and carbonates.
For our listeners who may not know, why are these specific minerals so important for scientists?
Well, these minerals usually form when liquid water interacts with volcanic rocks over a long period. This discovery shows that water existed on Mars for much longer than we previously thought.
That is a fascinating shift in our understanding. Does this mean the environment could have supported life?
It is a strong possibility. The data suggests that an ancient environment, deep underground, might have been able to support tiny forms of life, known as microbial life.
This discovery must be very helpful for future missions. How will NASA use this information moving forward?
This area is now a primary target for the Mars Sample Return mission, which is scheduled for later this decade. Currently, geologists are studying the data to understand the exact temperatures of the planet's past.
It is a remarkable achievement for the scientific community. It brings us one step closer to understanding the history of our solar system.
It certainly does, Alex. The mission continues to provide valuable insights into the mysteries of Mars.
Thank you for that detailed report, Jamie. We will continue to follow this story as more data arrives.
You are very welcome.
Good morning. Today we are discussing a major medical breakthrough that could change how we stay healthy every year.
That is right, Alex. Researchers at the National Institutes of Health have announced very promising results for a universal flu vaccine.
Most people are used to getting a flu shot every single year. Jamie, can you explain why this new vaccine is different?
Certainly. Regular flu shots focus on the outside of the virus, which changes quickly. This new vaccine targets the core structure of the virus. This part of the virus does not mutate or change.
I see. So because the core stays the same, the vaccine provides longer protection.
Exactly. In the Phase 2 human trials, the participants maintained high levels of protection for more than 18 months. The vaccine was effective against many different strains of the flu at the same time.
That is impressive. If the final trials are successful, when will this be available to the public?
Experts believe that if everything stays on track, we could end the need for annual shots within the next 3 years. The Trump administration is looking at this as a way to significantly reduce the burden of respiratory illness across the country.
It sounds like this technology could have a much wider impact than just the flu.
Yes, medical experts are very hopeful. They believe this breakthrough can serve as a template for fighting other viruses that change rapidly. It is a very steady and logical step forward for modern medicine.
A very promising update for global health. Thank you for that analysis, Jamie.
You are very welcome, Alex.